Think you're a badass survivalist because you watched a few YouTube videos and bought some tactical gear? Put you head-to-head with an ancient Native American for 24 hours in the wilderness, and you'd be crying for your mommy before sunset. While modern survivalists struggle to start fires with magnesium sticks and brag about lasting 3 days without McDonald's, ancient Native Americans mastered skills that would make Bear Grylls look like a weekend camper having a panic attack. Let's be brutally honest about this fantasy matchup that wouldn't even be close. Your modern survivalist shows up with a 500 tactical backpack stuffed with gear from Ears REI, emergency rations that taste like cardboard, and survival knowledge gleaned from reality TV shows. Meanwhile, the ancient Native American arrives with nothing but a stone knife, plant fiber cordage, and skills passed down through thousands of generations of people who actually had to survive or die. Guess who's eating dinner tonight and who's stumbling around in the dark, wondering why their fire starter isn't working? The clock starts ticking at dawn, and within the first hour, the fundamental difference becomes crystal clear. Your modern survivalist is already consulting their GPS device, checking weather apps, and rationing their energy bars like they're managing a corporate budget. The ancient Native American has already identified 12 edible plants, located 2 water sources, assessed wind patterns for the day, and begun collecting materials for tools they'll craft before lunch. While modern guy is still figuring out which direction is north using his compass, ancient warrior is reading the landscape like a book written in a language modern humans forgot centuries ago. Fire making becomes the first humiliating lesson in this survival smackdown. Modern survivalist breaks out their magnesium fire starter, waterproof, matches, and backup lighter, feeling pretty confident about their redundant systems. They gather some random sticks, scrape some magnesium shavings, and after 15 minutes of struggling, manage to create a small flame that dies within minutes because they grabbed the wrong kind of tinder and built their fire structure like they learned it from a camping manual written by someone who'd never been outside. Meanwhile, the ancient Native American has been watching this pathetic display while effortlessly preparing a fire bow setup using materials they identified and collected in 5 minutes. Dry cedar bark processed between their palms creates perfect tinder. A piece of dead hardwood becomes the fireboard, while a straight branch transforms into the spindle. Within 30 seconds of beginning the bow drill method, they've created an ember. Within 2 minutes, they have a roaring fire that will burn efficiently for hours because they understand fuel gradation, airflow dynamics, and heat management principles that modern survivalists read about in books but never truly master. But here's where it gets embarrassing for Team Modern. This isn't just any fire. Ancient Native American has built their fire in a location that maximizes wind protection, minimizes smoke signature, and positions the heat to work most efficiently for cooking and tool making. They've created a fire that serves multiple purposes: heat, light, cooking surface, tool hardening station, and insect deterrent. Modern survivalists' fire is basically an expensive way to burn through their limited fuel supply while providing minimal practical benefit. Water procurement reveals another massive skill gap that would be decisive in any survival scenario. Modern survivalist locates water using their topographic map and GPS coordinates, then breaks out their 200 water filtration system, iodine tablets, and UV sterilization pen. After 20 minutes of processing, they have clean water, but have depleted expensive gear that can't be replaced in the wilderness. They've also learned nothing about water sources and remain completely dependent on technology for one of survival's most basic needs. Ancient Native American approaches water procurement like a masterclass in environmental awareness. They identified 3 different water sources within the first hour: a spring emerging from rock formations, dew collection points on specific vegetation, and techniques for locating underground water by reading landscape features invisible to untrained eyes. They have also processed water using natural filtration methods, sand, charcoal, and plant materials that create cleaner water than many modern systems. But the real advantage is their ability to find water anywhere, anytime, using knowledge that requires no external equipment and never runs out of batteries. Tool creation becomes the moment when modern survivalist realizes they're completely outclassed. Their tactical knife is sharp and well made, but it's one tool that can't be replaced, reused, or modified. They baby it like a precious artifact because losing it means losing their primary cutting implement. Their multi-tool is clever engineering, but each component is a compromise. Pliers that aren't great pliers, screwdrivers that aren't quite the right size, scissors that barely cut. They're essentially carrying expensive compromises that excel at nothing. Ancient Native American starts with one stone tool, and within 2 hours has created a complete toolkit that would make modern manufacturers jealous. Pressure flaking produces cutting edges sharper than surgical scalpels. Knapping techniques create specialized tools for specific tasks. Scrapers for hide preparation, awls for piercing, burins for detailed carving, microliths for precision work. They have also crafted cordage from plant fibers stronger than many modern synthetic materials, carved wooden implements perfectly balanced for their intended use, and created tools that can be repaired, modified, or replaced using materials available anywhere in nature. The sophistication of their toolmaking extends beyond simple implements. They understand metallurgy principles using natural materials, heat treatment techniques that improve tool performance, and composite construction methods that combine different materials for optimal effectiveness. Stone tools are hafted to wooden handles using precisely fitted joints and plant-based adhesives that create permanent, reliable connections stronger than many modern fastening systems. But the real skill demonstration comes in their ability to create complex tools by combining simple elements. A spear thrower that doubles the force and accuracy of projectiles while extending throwing range beyond what human arm strength alone could achieve. Snares and traps that work while they're doing other tasks, designed with trigger mechanisms so sensitive they can capture small game without damaging the meat. Containers woven from plant materials that are waterproof, durable, and biodegradable, featuring sophisticated construction techniques that create flexible joints and reinforced stress points. Modern Survivalist is still figuring out how to use their pre-made gear effectively, while ancient Native American is manufacturing sophisticated equipment from raw materials, creating tools that surpass modern equivalents in both functionality and reliability. Food procurement reveals the most dramatic skill difference in this hypothetical survival showdown. Modern Survivalist has emergency rations, energy bars, and maybe some basic knowledge about identifying a few obvious edible plants. They're thinking in terms of rationing their limited supplies and hopefully supplementing with a few berries or nuts they're confident won't poison them. Their hunting and fishing abilities are theoretical at best, learned from YouTube videos and weekend workshops. Ancient Native American is operating from a completely different paradigm. They see food opportunities everywhere. Modern eyes see empty wilderness. Within the first few hours, they have identified dozens of edible plants, located animal runs and feeding areas, and begun setting traps and snares. They understand seasonal patterns, animal behavior, and plant phenology in ways that allow them to predict where food will be most abundant and how to acquire it most efficiently. Their hunting techniques would seem like magic to modern observers. They can track animals across terrain where modern people see no signs at all. A bent blade of grass, a barely visible scuff mark on a rock, the direction tiny pebbles have been displaced. These are clear road signs indicating animal movement, timing, and destination. They can determine not just that an animal passed through an area, but exactly what species, approximate size, direction of travel, how long ago, whether it was injured or healthy, and even its probable destination based on behavioral patterns. They can predict where animals will be hours before they arrive there, setting up ambush positions or trap lines with deadly effectiveness. This tracking expertise extends beyond simple footprint identification. They read disturbed vegetation, analyze scat composition for dietary information, interpret scent trails invisible to modern noses, and understand animal psychology well enough to predict behavioral responses to environmental changes. They know which animals travel together, which ones avoid each other, and how weather conditions affect movement patterns throughout different seasons. But it's not just about finding food. It's about processing and preparing it with maximum efficiency and nutrition. Modern survivalists might catch a fish and cook it over their fire, losing most of the nutritional value and wasting edible portions they don't recognize. Ancient Native American uses every part of any animal they acquire. Bones become tools and needles. Hide transforms into containers and cordage. Internal organs provide essential nutrients often missing from muscle meat. Nothing is wasted because waste means death when you're living at subsistence levels. Plant food knowledge demonstrates another massive advantage. Modern survivalist knows about acorns and maybe some common berries. Ancient Native American understands the processing techniques that make bitter acorns into sweet, nutritious flour. They know which roots are edible after specific preparation methods, when to harvest different plants for maximum nutrition, and how to combine plant foods for complete protein and essential nutrients. Shelter construction shows why ancient skills trump modern gear every time. Modern survivalist sets up their lightweight tent, inflates their sleeping pad, and unrolls their mummy bag rated for specific temperatures. They're comfortable, but completely dependent on manufactured gear that can be damaged, lost, or worn out. Their shelter is a temporary solution that provides no long-term security and teaches them nothing about environmental adaptation. Ancient Native American builds shelter using principles that work in any environment and improve over time. They understand thermodynamics, moisture management, and structural engineering in ways that create more comfortable and secure shelter than modern gear provides. Their debris hut is completely waterproof, maintains consistent internal temperature, and can be constructed anywhere using available materials. But the real advantage is adaptability. Modern gear works in specific conditions for limited time periods. Ancient techniques can be modified for any environment, season, or situation. Desert shelter principles adapt for forest conditions. Winter techniques scale for summer needs. Each shelter built teaches lessons that improve the next one. Navigation reveals another crushing advantage for ancient skills over modern technology. Modern survivalist relies on GPS devices, topographic maps, and compass bearings. When technology fails or batteries die, they're essentially lost. Their navigation depends on external references and mechanical devices that can break or malfunction at critical moments. Ancient Native American navigates using the entire environment as a constantly updated reference system. Sun angles indicate direction and time. Star positions provide nighttime navigation. Wind patterns, plant growth, and animal behavior all contain directional information. They can determine their location, plan routes, and find specific destinations using natural signs that are always available and never need batteries. Terrain reading skills allow them to predict weather changes, locate resources, and avoid dangers using landscape features. They understand how geography affects water flow, wind patterns, and microclimate variations. This knowledge makes them incredibly efficient travelers who can move safely through unknown territory while locating resources and avoiding hazards. Weather prediction becomes crucial in any survival scenario lasting more than a few hours. Modern survivalists checks their weather app and radio forecasts, getting general information that may not apply to their specific location. When technology fails, they're operating blind regarding environmental conditions that can determine survival or death. Ancient Native American reads weather patterns using environmental indicators that provide more accurate local forecasting than modern meteorology. Cloud formations, wind shifts, animal behavior, and plant responses all contain weather information. They can predict storm timing, intensity, and duration with accuracy that allows perfect preparation and response. This weather knowledge integrates with all other survival activities. They know when to prioritize shelter improvement, when to gather extra fuel, when to modify hunting strategies, and when to move to different locations. Modern survivalist reacts to weather after it arrives. Ancient Native American prepares for weather changes before they happen. Medical knowledge and first aid capabilities represent another massive skill gap. Modern survivalist carries a first aid kit with bandages, antiseptic, and pain relievers. They know basic wound care and maybe some emergency techniques learned in weekend classes. When their supplies run out or face situations beyond their limited knowledge, they're in serious trouble. Ancient Native American understands medicinal plants, surgical techniques, and healing practices that sustained human populations for thousands of years. They can identify and prepare dozens of plants with specific medicinal properties. They understand wound cleaning, infection prevention, pain management, and healing techniques using natural materials available anywhere. But their real advantage is understanding the human body's natural healing capabilities and how to support them using environmental resources. They know which plants reduce inflammation, which ones fight infection, and which ones promote healing. They understand nutrition for recovery, exercise for rehabilitation, and mental techniques for managing pain and trauma. Psychological resilience and stress management would be the deciding factor if this competition lasted beyond the first day. Modern survivalist is operating outside their comfort zone, dealing with stress levels they have never experienced for extended periods. Their mental preparation comes from books, videos, and weekend experiences that don't really prepare them for genuine life or death situations. Ancient Native American has been raised from childhood to handle extreme stress, physical discomfort, and life-threatening situations as normal parts of existence. Their psychological preparation isn't theoretical. It's been tested through real emergencies, harsh conditions, and situations where mistakes meant death for themselves and their families. Community knowledge and resource sharing give ancient Native American advantages that individual modern survivalists can't match. They're operating from thousands of generations of accumulated knowledge, refined techniques, and proven solutions. Every skill they demonstrate has been tested, improved, and passed down through countless life or death situations. Modern survivalist is essentially improvising using limited personal experience and secondhand knowledge. They're trying to figure out solutions that ancient peoples perfected centuries ago. It's like asking someone who learned carpentry from YouTube videos to compete against a master craftsman whose family has been building houses for generations. Energy management and work efficiency reveal why ancient tools are so much more effective than modern approaches. Modern survivalist works harder while accomplishing less because they don't understand how to prioritize tasks, conserve energy, and maximize results. They waste motion, duplicate efforts, and fail to see connections between different survival activities. Ancient Native American works with incredible efficiency because every action serves multiple purposes. Gathering materials for one project simultaneously collects resources for others. Toolmaking produces implements that solve several problems. Fire management provides heat, light, cooking capability, and protection while requiring minimal fuel input. By the end of 24 hours, this wouldn't even be a competition. It would be a masterclass in why ancient skills are superior to modern gear dependency. Modern survivalists would be exhausted, frustrated, and probably injured from attempting tasks they lack proper knowledge to perform safely. They'd have burned through their gear, depleted their supplies, and learned very little that would help them survive longer. Ancient Native American would be comfortable, well-fed, and equipped with tools and shelter that improve their situation rather than depleting resources. They'd have demonstrated skills that work indefinitely without external support, knowledge that applies in any environment, and techniques that become more effective with practice rather than less effective as gear wears out. The next time some weekend warrior brags about their survival skills, because they can start a fire with a magnesium stick and navigate using GPS, remember that real survival expertise isn't about having the best gear. It's about having skills so deeply ingrained that survival becomes natural rather than desperate struggle. Ancient Native Americans weren't playing survival games or testing theoretical knowledge. They were living survival mastery every single day, and that level of expertise would absolutely destroy any modern survivalist foolish enough to think their gear could substitute for genuine skills.